Hola. I'm having one of those bad idea days. Bad idea one, buying knockoff batteries. Now, in fairness, I actually have some luck with this. I have a good 4 amp hour sitting down there. Actually, it's on the charger right now. It's happy enough. I bought this knockoff 5 amp hour. Excellent quality. Labels even go on. You got the speed flap right there. Ryobi battery oh yeah, the clips just fall right out of it. It's Vantech apparently. I got that one that was just an auction that was in, and I was like, right, pick it up. Sellers kind of went, yeah, I'm just going to give you a partial refund because this thing doesn't charge. It does work, it delivers part of the tools, it just does not charge. Now, just in here, that's not going to stay in focus but those two terminals do look sketchy. Or terminals, not terminals. Those two solder points look sketchy, and those are the ones for the thermistor, which this one gives a temperature warning error. That's when you get just a red light, not the red and green flashing. This one has previously featured in a video, and it's been... I don't actually know. It's probably been a couple of years. Now, I recently tried recharging the cells again with the computer power supply, and this time this cell is just dying fast. Now, that's fine. Eventually that's going to happen. But I opened it up just to sort of see what was going on, and then I thought, what can I do? I'll have a look and see what the differences are. Now, the two differences between them are fairly obvious. I mean, Jesus, the boards look nothing alike. But there are similarities. There are similarities that I absolutely love a terrible idea for. This is the same cell arrangement, but different. The monitoring and the balancing is all set up the same, and apparently these Ryobi boards, the only real difference sort of in how they're set up tends to be that they have indicators or not. This is a very much don't do what Donnie don't does moment, but I don't really see a problem with it. Now, there are some key problems to get over here. Numero uno, these are different. In here, this one uses a slip fit with it has 2 ramps either side here to make it nice and tight, whereas this one just has a better manufactured fit. Originally, my plan was to keep this just where it is and stick this one on top because I only need to grind off this little tab right here. At first, I thought the height difference between these two was going to be a problem. It actually isn't. The reason it isn't is because this little deck here is higher than this deck. So do I modify the case, cobble it together, or do I just unsolder this and stick it on here? Now, as far as whether or not this is going to work at all, I don't know. You can buy these boards, and I could replace a cell in it and just have a working 1.3 amp hour battery. I don't really know what this battery is. Calling it 5 amp hour, very doubtful, especially because they've planned. Now, I've looked under the tape. Every single one of them has been carefully rotated to avoid showing any information apart from one very sort of just edge of visibility barcode. As far as the layout of the board goes, while it's very different, it's doing the same things to the battery pack. Also, I was gonna worry about power handling, but here's the thing. Here's your power handling section on this one. Nothing here. This one, look at that. You got switchings, heat sinks, everything's, I mean, if there's one I want to trust, it's It's kind of this board here. Also, these 4 good cells, I got a wee boombox project that I have wanted to finish up on. So I am going to do some figuring out. I need to do some dumb things. This one, not so bad. Desoldering these, not particularly terrifying. These are a worse idea. Now, they're not really a big bad problem because they're on the nickel strips and it's just a quick kiss of the iron to lift them off. This one actually makes it a little easier because we have, a main power lead to here. And these are in the same position. I've sort of measured it out, checked it, I know it to be true. But I don't really know what's going to happen. And it's very much going to be a case I'm going to have a battery I want to charge in a bucket. At least until I see how this works out. I will take this board off if I go ahead. I'm not 100% whether I swap these sets of terminals over and just use all the scabby case, or whether or not I modify this case to have a sort of better fit. The clips are absolutely hateful on this thing. They have too deep a tooth and too much spring. Or, well, not too much spring. What they have is, they have these just sitting like this behind it, and it is not as freely moving as this superior arrangement. But this is useless for all intents and purposes. One thing that's worth noting is, I don't know what this plastic is. It doesn't feel very reinforced and it doesn't behave like it is. It's not weak, but this fits better, works better if I can get the original clips working by taking a little bit off here. I certainly will. I don't know. It's a bad idea in general, and I wouldn't recommend it. On the other hand, I think I paid less than 15 quid for this entire battery. Now, how much are sales now? This is maybe not a bad deal. Really depends what's in there. I need to see if I can find one. I'm hoping I find some rotated onto the board where I can see them. The other problem is I will have to come up with a way to mount this smaller board in here. Now, the dimensions as far as the back of the board goes, you can see they actually copied the fake back. They're fine. That's all grand. I just need a way to make the screw holes work on this frame. That's probably going to be done with a bit of acrylic, or, if I open the frame and I see there's places I can... Even if I got down, glue it down, because to be honest, as long as I have this board safely attached in here, this, which has a really crappy retention mechanism compared to this one clips in tightly. This one, they milled the slots too big, but it actually copies the same idea. This is positively retained with a screw in both these posts, so it doesn't actually matter too much. As long as I make sure the board is safe, I could even consider breaking the connection between these two. All these dimensions up to this point are good as far as where the battery straps go and everything else, so I can make it work. I just don't know if I should. Well, hell, I just kind of dove into it in the end. I didn't bother recording the desoldering. What I will say is, this one, nice and easy. Good leaded solder. Immediately noticed the difference because I quite often use lead, like flux core, or sort of, where is it? There it is. Just enormous flux core leaded solder, because it's great for just softening up no matter what process they've been through. There's the, I assume, thermistor that caused the trouble on this board, though I did notice a couple of other things. Whenever I hit this button, I got 2 bars. This was notably, when I tried to charge it, I noticed it's actually the little handheld Hoover. It's really obvious whether the voltage is sort of okay on it. It was only outputting about 18 volts on my multimeter, but saying that it had a fair way to go, I think this thing would kill the cells over time. Now, that's speculation because it won't charge anyway. Other than that, I don't have a huge lot of complaints about it. I mean, other than it just doesn't fucking work. The temperature probe problem, that's a known thing. It cannot be resolved. I left this on the charger for hours and hours because there is a temperature cycling thing with Ryobi batteries. Now, it wasn't particularly easy to desolder this one because these leads were folded over in a way that wasn't particularly obvious in here, and that slot is real tight, and you just cannot get enough heat into them to wick them away in time. You know, you could do it, but you'd be there for hours. This, to be honest, not hugely better, but I got a fun discovery. I swing these around side by side so they're oriented the same. You can see we have more serious balancing leads. I mean, these ones, whenever you actually look at them, there's absolutely nothing there in there. I mean, it's not a major job, but I don't know how much real balancing this thing was going to do anyway. But here's the fun bit. Just look at these holes. These holes here. And that hole there. Bang. Job done. Also, if you happen to be doing something similarly dumb, you should know Ryobi do this little thing where they fold this around it. Now, if you pull too hard when you go to take the wire out from that fold, you will flex solder all over your hand, and actually, yeah, just that little solder burn right there. That's about the only real note here. To be honest, I was hoping to find out what cells are in here. There's no obvious way to take this pack apart again without stripping the cells, and to be honest, I'm not in the mood to do it. I'm not starting into the spot welding this back together. This one, on the other hand, the Ryobi one, I'm pretty sure I could break this pack, cut these leads, and have myself a cute little 4-cell pack that, oh, yeah, chop this off, and here, there we go. 2x2, that will go into the boombox, and it's big old D cells. These 1.3 amp are, yeah, grand. And I mean, they'll be fine in a low draw application anyway, even though they're years old and have been repeatedly recovered, because all the cells did get low in that a couple of times, thanks to the fact that it takes me a while to get around to things. This, still don't know. Everything's sitting about 3.6 volts. Actually curious, now that I have access to, well, not access, but see what we get. So we're only sitting about 18 volts. Ooh, what did I do there? And yeah, they're still sitting about 3.6. So what's that? Yeah, that adds up. I think we're going to be good here. The fact that the screws are actually there and correct for this, barring one. God damn, this is going to be an easy job. Now, originally what I was going to do was file out the internal profile of this. But given that they actually have provisions for the original, well, I spun it around there, but like an idiot, but given the original mounting provisions are there, I'm just going to swap this one on. It's not a real big job. Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, hello. Oh, there, you're just going to go for a little bit of a flight there. Am I going to be able to? I think I need to pull that one first. I did notice you would think that these are thicker gauge wires on the knockoff. They're not. Now, they are about the same gauge. It's just that they happen to be absolutely enormously insulated. And I'm not sure if that's like some gimmicky thing or what, you know. The thing about it is, you think about like scam products and batteries and whatnot, and you think, yeah, the scammers are doing all the scamming. The guy that you bought it from, he's not doing any scamming. He's being scammed by some other guy, and some other guy scammed them on wires. It's just one of those things where it's a lot messier than you would expect it to be. Yeah, I have reasonably heavy gauge wire handy, so I am hoping. Come on, you. Also, neither board is particularly double-sided, but both are in some degrees. You can see a little diode there. Oh, I'm way off piste now. There we go. You'll see it, my desoldering technique is very much just melt the fuck out of it, which is not as easy on the Ryobi board because it is not using whatever solder they could find. And yes, this is not a very evolved setup. I'm actually going to need a bit of the good leaded stuff in there, and that'll loosen that right up. There we go. Now, I'm doing a very rough job of this because, well, oh, that's a big lump of it. I'm definitely... Oh, and... See here, actually, you know, I did notice there was a few frayed wires sticking out of the solder on the Ryobi one. It was not perfect itself, and I mean, that is just a big blob there. So I'll probably have to clean that up a little bit myself. Just for the sake of... Whoo. Yeah, that big blob. I don't know how much solder that wire hoovered up. I'm impressed. The insulation on that wire is good. But did I think to check which ones are which there? Oh yeah, also I'm going to have the joy of, you can see, that's just burnt flux. That's not a worry. Getting the ribbon into that slot is going to be fun, but I have the option, as you can see, of just whipping up and over, because I have loads of extra ribbon and there is nothing here. So I think that's what I'll do. I mean, I might put it under for tidiness, but I'm not gonna panic and worry about getting this perfect. I'm gonna see if I can make it work first. Yeah, so I'm gonna cobble this one together. I'm gonna get the camera out of my face for that bit. I mean, you get the idea. I'm just gonna undo what I just did. But it's very inconvenient to do this with my big proboscis camera holder here, which also does this. So, you know, nobody wants that. Okay. After some sketchy ass soldering, I think we are in business. I should turn that soldering iron off. I'm gonna do that now. Right. So, moment of truth. For the Ryobi style solution, I have taken the power lead and just, so I soldered it into the little valley of the fold, folded it around it, just fed as much solder as it would take into it. That seems to have worked well. Round here, I have done a shittier job and just planted it right across the sort of big pad after adding solder, so that I get it under and you know, underneath it and on top of it. Realistically, current carrying should be fine. This thing doesn't clip into either board well, but it clips into the Ryobi board a little bit better than its own board. Yeah. exciting bit's about to come up. This should have close to 18 volts across it. What are we getting? Oh, you can't see that. 17.68. That's a really small drop across the board. That's good. That sort of seems positive. Last thing to do. Where did I put the sticky bits? There's one sticky bit, but I need the circle thing. I had a little circle. I pulled it off the old broken battery, and now I don't know where I put it. I can put it on this. That's just our wee temperature probe. Alright. So, sorry, I have to keep tapping to see if I get a preview. In theory, this goes back together now. I mean, I expected that bit to work. Get our dumb clips. It's one dumb clip. And yes, I went for the far one just because that's the way I picked it up. So these are not very nice to use, and that was the reason I considered putting the new top on, to be honest. I might still come back and do that because these, they don't have as much give and they engage too deeply on the tools. So they're rather unpleasant to remove. Let's see what I did with the other one though. Did I put it under here? Oh, I didn't, but I got a bit of solder on that. Let's make sure that doesn't end up inside it. Ah! Set two of them out of the way, because I didn't need to compare them. Alright. These are also a lot more fiddly than Ryobi clips to put back together because they want to slip into the case instead of, or slip sort of, they want to fall inwards rather than sit in their slot. This is probably going to be an annoying bit. Let's see about our lid. By the way, I was upset about this battery from the get-go. It's just the switch for the thing, so this battery will permanently and forever rattle. Interestingly, we do, well, not interestingly, I suppose. Where's my T10? Because these respect the rules and go with T10s. However, they do use shorter screws. I'm going to start with my battery terminals. Let's see that what we're looking for is this. Yeah, there it is. There they are pulling up. Okay, that's them locked in place. We have a few screws in, well, we got 3 out of 4. That's not bad. Okay, that's one corner snapped down. Let's do the opposite corner and see if this idea is gonna shake out. I mean, the cells are passing voltage through the board. That's good news. But at the same time, what I'm going to have to do is see if this works in the tool. And then I'm going to have to strip it down after I charge it and see, well, see if it charges first. If it charges, I'm going to have to strip it down and see if the cells balance up at all okay. This board we pulled out of this battery, we're going to have a look at it versus the good fake battery. Whoop. There we go. Okay, this battery works and it charges happily. No trouble with the charger. It all worked out as expected. I think I'm going to take these clips and just shorten that edge on them. make them easier to deal with because they engage too deeply with the tool the way they're shaped. So, you know, there's not enough room for the spring to come in and then the clips just get stuck like that. But, moment of truth, are the cells balanced? Because if they're not, this is just going to become a problem over time. 4.08. 4.08. My good God. Oh, that's not looking good. Oh, what did I touch there? I think this meter needs a new battery. Okay, so I'm going to have to, you know. There we go. I'm guessing my meter just needs a new battery because it's a little slow on some of these. Okay. That one, I give it a few months of use. I'll make it the battery for the little handheld hoover. I use that all the time for hoovering coffee grounds and everything. By the way, this is a hideous job. Yeah, this thing just flaps around. This is good. That, it looks ugly because it is, but what I've done is hit the whole pad and get it partially through, so it should be fine. I mean, I put it in a couple of high draw devices. I can stall out a drill and everything as well, and it doesn't, you know, it's not burned my house down yet. So I suppose I'll try using it for a while and see if it does. I would like to know what these cells are, but, you know, there's not really a convenient way to identify them within it. On the other hand, lovely that you can buy a knockoff battery and put a good board in it. I will get around to doing a comparison between that dodgy board. Yes, this dodgy board. I will do a comparison between that and the one that does work and see if there's any difference or if it was just badly made. My suspicion is still because of that temperature problem. This little probe, and it could. There is. No, I did this with crocodile clips, but what I didn't actually check, and I maybe should have checked it, was whether there was continuity. I removed this and put it on the Ryobi board, but I should have checked whether there was good continuity down into the board here, because if you were to say tape over this probe and put it in the charger, you would get the exact same problem. And I did check, there was a bit of grubbiness just here on the board that I cleaned up thinking that might get it, and it didn't. So, yeah, food for thought. Anyway, till I burn my house down.